I'm the computer man. I'm the Macintosh man with the virus scan. Moving your files all across the land. Some Photoshop filters and After Dark. Get your Microsoft Office, express your quark. Millions of colors with a VRAM chip. How about a system crash that'll make you flip? I'm the computer man. I'm saying Windows 95 is plug and pray. If it's fonts you want, you gotta go to MacWave. Log right on as my personal guest. You'll have Macintosh software on your desk. Send me an email with your request. If it's hardware you want, baby, I'm the best. I'm the computer.
Good evening, K-Squid listeners. Good evening, Santa Cruz, Central Coast, Monterey, and beyond. My name is Luigi Opito, owner-operator of Pleasure Point Computers right by the beach here in beautiful Santa Cruz, California. And for the next hour, I am your tour guide into a world of wonder, magic, information, and a lot of frustration. That's right, we're talking about the internet and the world of computing. I am your computer man. Welcome to one of the most helpful, friendly tech counters you ever visited. I hope so. I hope. And welcome to your Tuesday night, to your local radio station, your local KSQD Santa Cruz, K-Squid 90.7 FM, also broadcasting online at 89.5 and 89.7, and always at 90.7 FM and always online at ksqd.org, as well as our new app, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, go on to the App Store, go on to the Google Play Store, download the KSQD app for your favorite smartphone, smart device, and check it out. It's a real easy way to get a hold of KSQD, listen to it anywhere in the world. You have internet connection. You can enjoy it all the time, and we're here for you. Pretty cool. We love it. It's very cool. As well as our website and a lot of other ways to listen to us. It's just another way to get a hold of KSQD anywhere you are if you don't have that radio dial close to you. Pretty cool. But again, welcome everybody. Welcome to your local radio station. Thank you so much for joining into us tonight. Another action-packed show full of computer nonsense and things of people that are pissed off about things. So we're going to be talking about all that good stuff, as well as some current events and things that are going on in the computer world. Apple is doing all their iOS 18 stuff, biggest change around. We're going to talk about some of that. We're going to talk about some things that are going on in the Microsoft world, as well as some phone stuff and some scams and things. There are all sorts of things going on. First, most importantly, if you ever say to yourself, wow, this guy's talking a little bit quick. Yeah, I know. I get told that quite often. How often? Well, I got told twice today, actually, if I ever slow down. I don't think I do. So, but anyway, why am I saying that? Because we have on our amazing website, the KSQD website, ksqd.org, we have our listening tab where you jump onto our website and jump onto the listening tab, and we have our 2-week audio archive. From there, you can listen to any of the shows that KSQD offers here at the station. Pretty cool. And you can listen to them at your heart's content, as long as they happen in the last 2 weeks, including the Computer Man show here. So if you ever want to jump on and say, man, he was talking about something about, I don't remember what, but I really want to listen to it and I missed it, don't worry about it. Jump on to ksqd.org and you can listen to it up to 2 weeks later on our amazing listening tab. And while you're there, of course, hit the donate button, because we are a volunteer-based radio station. We wouldn't do it for any other way. And it's the only way really to be really true to you, to our listeners, to who we're here for. So I don't come in here for any other reason. I mean, I love everybody here at K-Squid and stuff, but I'm here for you. So, and we can't do that without you. So if you jump onto our website, ksqd.org, and hit that donate button, we surely appreciate it. It's one of the only ways that we can stick around, because we want to be that way. We want to be here for you, and we want to make sure that we're here only for you here at 90.7 FM and always online at ksqd.org. Okay, well, if you are curious about how you get a hold of me during the show, 831-900-5773 is our online, our phone number here. Our phones are online, ready to rock and roll. As for email, we're going to have our on air at ksqd.org. I'm getting that up and running right now. If you want to email me over something in our inbox, feel free to jump on there and shoot me over a message, and I'll see what's going on. So let's see, we got phones and email. And after the show, you can always email me, Luigi, Luigi, at ksqd.org. Of course, during the show, you got to be part of the magic. 900-5773. The phone lines are open and will be open till about 3 minutes before the end of the show. So jump on there, 831-900-5773, or on air at ksqd.org. And I'd love to hear from you, see what's going on. Okay, let's talk. Let's see what we have for current events here. Not too many scams that were like new and upcoming. A lot of the same old stuff, email scams, people talking about things coming through. I had a gentleman talk about an email that he kept getting over and over again on his phone. Actually, he was getting this email, kept coming through, and then he says it was getting through on an email, and he showed it to me, and then all of a sudden they started sending the same exact thing to text messages. So I don't know if he's just on some super list that got sent to everything, but he got the same thing on his text messages, and so he learned how to block things. And he wanted to show me how well he had done doing listening to the show, blocking things, but also he's like, hey, I came by your shop because I can't get any of the text messages that Xfinity is sending to me because I'm trying to get my email back on my inbox, but they're not giving me anything. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, maybe maybe we blocked that number. So got a hold of Comcast, found out what the number was that they actually send their messages from. It's actually one of those 6-digit SMS numbers opposed to like a phone number. And sure enough, about the, 340th line down in his block contacts, of about 900 block contacts he had, was Comcast. So sometimes the answer is the simplest. I mean, I was thinking about different ways it wasn't translating over the carriers and blah, 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 blah. Nope, it's just blocked. It's just blocked. So, but he did that because he learned how to block numbers when he got a bunch of garbage stuff, and he probably just hit the button while he was going through because his inbox and his text messages stream was pretty gnarly full of stuff. So again, there's two ways that these scammers out there make their money, right? There's two ways, the general ways, and we're talking really, really general. One is by finding out if your email address is correct and then sending you email based on that, right? So they're going to send you an email address, they're going to send you email, and if you respond back or you click on the link or you do something, whatever, or interact with that email and more than just opening it, and sometimes even opening it does it, they will then know that your email address is legit, therefore putting it onto a list, right? So first of all, if I get scammed and I call the scammer and they're like, oh, you owe me $300, I go, oh, geez, here's your $300. Boom, they made $300. That's one way they make money, right? The other way would then be if I answered the email and went, oh, I'm not going to get you, haha, you're a fake scammer, I'm going to write you back, click, send. Well, now I've interacted with the email and I've sent them an email back. By sending them an email back from a human, they now know that I am human, right? And now that email address attached to the human is real and legitimate, and it can be added to a secondary list. That secondary list then will be comprised and compiled, and then that will then be sold off. And that is the second revenue stream that these guys do. So if you didn't get scammed, good for you. If you responded back to the email, watch out, because you're probably going to get more stuff, as in you probably just got added to the list because now you're part of the list, right? It's part of that thing that's out there. So, yeah, it's just kind of it's coming at you from all angles. So again, just question everything that's coming through your email, and if you can just take a couple extra seconds to go, I'm not really sure, or like some of my listeners did last week, just take that moment, stop what you're doing, don't go through the email, but open up another page. Go to Amazon.com, go to Yahoo.com, go to the place that's saying things are wrong, and sign in separately from the email and look. Is there a giant yellow banner across the top saying you need to pay? Is there something saying, hey, your shipment is wrong, and a notice, right? When you sign into a lot of these accounts, they've gotten very good about giving you an obvious yellow gigantic bar across the top that says, hey, something's wrong, fix it. So if you don't see that, most likely everything's fine. Okay, so there's actually a thing that was passed through, that was actually pushed through about, a couple hours ago, I guess. Again, we don't really do politics and stuff, but it's kind of actually I don't do politics, but this is more of a interesting thing for schools. Back in the day, I was putting together something that would basically block all cell phone signals inside of a classroom or inside of a movie theater or something like that. And I was making this basically it was a noise maker for signal. And if it was within a certain distance or certain area and you walked in a certain distance, it would block all cell phone signals, knock out cell phones. It was a great thing because I figured it'd be good for schools. Figured it'd be good for movie theaters and maybe office. I don't know, maybe offices or something. I was trying to think of some place that you wanted to be where cell phones would not work. And I made this thing that started doing that. And then I got a notice because I started applying for things. Hey, look at this. And the FCC got a hold of it and said, you can't impede signal. So, and that was done. But now there's this thing saying that just passed through. It says more schools are banning students from using smartphones in classes, right? They're using banning students from smartphones in classes. There's now a call for a federal ban rather than the current mix of state laws. And so I guess California is going to be one of the main states to introduce a ban. And now they have signed the Phone Free Schools Act into law. So school districts have until July 1st, 2026. Okay, so that is less than 2 years from now. 2026 to adopt a policy or to limit or prohibit the use by its pupils of smartphones while the pupils are at a school site. Interesting. So it says worldwide, around 1 in 4 countries has implemented bans or restrictions on the use of smartphones in schools. And this 9 to 5 Mac, which is a website I read a lot. They get a lot of tech news and tech ideas from. They said that poll conducted a year ago found strong support for the same thing happening in the U.S. with 73% in favor and only 21% opposed. They said it will improve learning outcomes, reduce classroom disruption, and protects children from cyberbullying. Yeah, so that's interesting. Some schools are going to allow phones during breaks. Other will say that they're placed in lockers or other safe places at the beginning of the school day and not retrieved until the end of the day. So, Pennsylvania's doing something. It says like Louisiana's done something, Florida's done something, Indiana's done something. Yeah, they said that there's basically like there's an allocation they're going to put it through for test lockable phone pouches and all this stuff. So interesting with that because that's it's. I understand why my invention was ridiculous, but at the same time it worked. But it would knock like literally everything out. It would just you go in, you can't do anything with any type of signal, and that was cool. I thought it was cool, but whatever. Anyway, moving on. So let's see. Also, a big thing if you are a user of Kaspersky antivirus. Okay, this is one that I've been pushing for people to get off of for a long time. Kaspersky Antivirus evidently was a Russian company or whatever, and that's necessarily. Did they do anything malicious? Not that I know of. Did they do anything weird? Not really. It just wasn't a very good antivirus. When it came out, it wasn't great. It came out and it was kind of cool. It was like, oh my gosh, this is a new one that's not AVG and isn't Norton or McAfee. There was only a few that were out there that were any good at the time. And then Kaspersky came out and it's like, oh, here's an alternative. And you're like, okay. And it wasn't really that great. It's fine. But evidently on Thursday, this is really weird. If you had Kaspersky, on your computer, because Best Buy was still giving it out for free until a couple months ago. They were just giving out with new computers. Kaspersky deleted its anti-malware software from customers' computers, meaning they, again, you have your software running, they can go in and change that software. This did instead of an update, it did an entire delete of the machines, of all the software, the Kaspersky software on all the customers' machines, and then replaced it with Ultra AV's antivirus solution. I have no idea what Ultra AV is, to be honest. I've never used it. But this is Kaspersky decided to shut down its U.S. operations and lay off a U.S.-based employees in response to the U.S. government adding Kaspersky to the entity list, which is a catalog of foreign individuals, companies, and organizations deemed a national security concern in June. So, so on June 20th, they banned the government banned sales and software updates for Kaspersky antivirus in the United States. And said that they're based on security risks and national security risks. And then Kaspersky said that it was going to begin closing its doors in its business and lay off its staff on July 20th. That'd be a weird thing to have all of a sudden your company is just all of a sudden part of this cybersecurity ban. But it says they sent out a notice to everybody saying, as part of our commitment to providing you with continued top-tier service, we are pleased to announce that Kaspersky Antivirus and U.S. users will be able to maintain reliable security protection from our trusted partner, Ultra AV. You will now get Ultra AV with your existing paid subscription, which includes important features including industry-leading VPN, password manager, and identity theft protection. Again, I don't know if Ultra AV is any good. Said people are like, I woke up and saw this new antivirus on my desktop, tried to open Kaspersky, but it was gone. I had to look at what happened because I was literally having a mini heart attack that my desktop somehow had a virus, which uninstalled Kaspersky and gave me this other company, right? Because they didn't tell anybody. It just happened. So, as it says, as of September 30th, which is in a couple days, Kaspersky will no longer be able to support or provide product updates to your service, which puts you at substantial risk for a cyber crime. But yeah, I guess they had additionally partnered with Ultra AV to make a transition and da-da-da-da. So Ultra AV is stoked because they got a whole bunch of customers, but I have no idea if it's any good. To be honest, at this point, antivirus is a little weird. The antivirus, because everything's like it's a living organism, the internet, the way that things work and the ways that we see different inundated attacks and such. And I use my shop and my bench as part of that litmus test to see what's coming through and what people are having problems with. When there's power outages, I go, okay, the next day we're going to get a lot of phone calls because people have their computers asleep, things are in different states, and when they come back from that sleep state, it's not going to be happy a lot of times. Sometimes they'll be fine, and it's gotten better over time, but sometimes they're very upset, computers and people, but it can go either way. So Kaspersky's, that's a unique thing, and there's always something kind of like that happening with some software, but antivirus at this point, if you're looking for a recommendation for good antivirus, right now, Windows Defender, not Microsoft Defender, because that's a paid version, Windows Defender, that comes with every version of Windows 10 and Windows 11, is doing a pretty bang-up job. It used to be garbage, and it's actually turned into something that's halfway decent. I don't know if that's because the antivirus attacks have gone through the floor. I literally, I used to have, 2 years ago, I'd have 10 machines for every one virus scan machine I have in my shop now. The virus issues have gone way down. Malware is still a problem. Not as big a problem, but it's still a problem. Of course, if we get in older machines, viruses still are prevalent. They're still out there. They still exist. But the newer machines have gotten really good about blocking them. So Windows Defender is good for an antivirus. In fact, just kind of curious here. That is what we're running here at the studio. And it also, if you have that partnered with Malwarebytes is still one of my favorite anti-malware programs for both Mac and PC, you should be good. If you want to partner with a third piece of software like a CCleaner or some type of temporary junk file cleaner that does just that, none of this other garbage, all this other stuff, just cleans junk and temporary files. If you do those three things, you should be pretty good. Windows Defender, Malwarebytes protection, running a scan every once in a while, and then doing a junk and temporary file cleaner every once in a while. That'll clean out a lot of the stuff, and you're pretty good for 99% of the stuff. As long as you have an ad block as well, you won't fall into a pitfall on some weird website, and you're cruising. Pretty good. So paying for antivirus in 2024 is really kind of not necessary, and antivirus companies are kind of trying to hold on to a lot of it. But it's only not necessary because you're doing something in its place, right? So there are free alternatives. If you're listening to the show, then you know that you can get Windows Defender, you can get Malwarebytes, and you can get CCleaner all for free. Okay, let's see what else is going on here. This was kind of neat. So I've also, I'm interested in airplanes. I am not, wouldn't even really call myself an aviation geek or anything like that. I enjoy airplanes. I like airplanes. I like going on airplanes. I like seeing airplanes. And so every once in a while, I'll, like, if there's an airplane above me, I'll go, where the airplane's at? I'll use my phone, and it'll tell me, where it's going, where it's coming, that kind of stuff, like from FlightAware. So one kind of cool thing that FlightAware put up on their page was on, what was this? Actually, I have the date. So there was, maybe I might have just saved this today, which maybe gave me the wrong date. Yeah, I saved it today. Okay, so this was probably, I think, maybe 4 or 5 days. It was right when the iPhones were released. I think it was on the 21st. Let me see, the 20th maybe? Maybe it was Friday the 20th. Doesn't really matter. But on that day, there was a flight. Let's see, this is FlightAware. Let's see if I have that little FlightAware thing on here. Nope. Oh, no, there it is. Okay, there was 5 days ago. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, Friday or Thursday. So Thursday, the 19th, there was a post by FlightAware. Big build-up. Sorry, everybody. It had a page up tracking the UPS planes loaded with iPhones heading to the U.S. for Friday's launch. Okay, so this Thursday caravan of planes, there were UPS planes. There were so they did a little math. They said, okay, if you had a UPS plane, these UPS planes were holding iPhones specifically, right, from the factory. So if you had if you had at a 747, you wanted to fill with iPhones into a 747-8F, which is the brand of the airplane, 300,000 iPhones fit into a 747 for UPS, right? 300,000 iPhones. So this group of planes that was flying, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 planes were flying from wherever the Foxconn was, I guess. The group of planes near Alaska that were flying was hauling $2.3 billion worth of iPhones that morning, on Thursday morning. So 2,330,200,000 iPhones. If 300,000 iPhones fit into a 747, and they were just carrying iPhones. $2.3 billion worth of iPhones. I wonder if that's true. First of all, if those planes were just filled with iPhones, I wonder if Apple was monitoring them and monitoring the flights and seeing if all the planes landed. Could you imagine if all of a sudden 300,000 iPhones just dropped out of into the ocean or something? I mean, that's wow. So that's a lot of money. The last thing that I kind of want to talk about current events-wise before I got into my packet of emails, because I'd really like to get through some of these emails that people have been writing me, and you too can write me an email, Luigi, LUIGI@ksqd.org. I've gotten a little behind. I will write you back. I will get you back, and if it's pretty urgent, you can always write me at the shop to Luigi@pleasurepointcomputers.com, because if I miss you, I don't want to miss you, and you can always call, and I want to make sure that you get your stuff fixed properly. But usually I add the emails to my list, and then it's like couple weeks later. So if you want to hear your email on air, let me know. I'll push you to the front. Otherwise, we'll just kind of roll through. But I've been talking about, I try not to talk a lot about politics and stuff. I like to talk about the tech that happens with politics. But I was really interested in AI and how this election was going to go, right? So we're like 50 something days away from voting. So election's super hot. I thought that there was going to be a lot more AI stuff that came out, right? I mean, the other guy was making a lot of like stuff using AI, using singers and other things that he probably should have been doing, but he did it anyways. So I thought the AI was going to be making videos showing, candidates doing something, and then they'd have to come back. Oh, I didn't do that. That wasn't me. But it's kind of turning into something different. A video of the former president riding a cat while wielding an assault rifle, or the vice president with a mustache dressed in communist attire, or both candidates sharing a passionate embrace. There's a lot of so it's playing a role in the campaigns, but it's again going back to human nature, where like people are like, well, I can make this really serious video and make everyone shocked or whatever, or I can put him on a cat with an assault rifle and have him shoot through, and the internet likes that stuff. So let's do that. That sounds good. And that's what's happening. That's what's happening. It's really weird. I'm just really curious about like here we are with this another incredible tool, right? And I thought people were going to be really nefarious and use it in weird ways. And of course, it's happening in certain parts, but for the most part, the things that are really taking off are weird things like that. Now, I've seen I have seen crazy photos that people have created because you can do that with AI and you can do that with a simple click. But the whole like Springfield thing that's going on, they spread a whole bunch of AI things related with that on that conspiracy theory. There was also, they're making memes, and the memes are amplifying things that aren't funny, I guess. And memes are supposed to be funny, and it's interesting that they're using this stuff to create memes on things. I don't know. Of course, you've seen a lot of the ones with Elon Musk, where he's like some like prize fighter or something like that, even though he's the shape of his Tesla truck. It's really weird. But they're using fake, entertaining, and often preposterous images to score political points. And granted, that's always been done with the political cartoons and everything like that. AI-generated images pack a stronger punch with hyper-realism. So you're actually seeing Kamala in a bathtub of barbecue sauce or something. It's weird stuff like that. And because it's AI, I mean, like it's a pretty good representation. It looks like she's sitting in something. Obviously, she's not. And campaigns always had to deal with the misinformation, but now this new AI stuff is really different. Where they, the people that are running will actually write back to the people like, the president loved this image. How did you make it? Who created it? And then said, oh, I made it for the article. And they keep up the great work. But I mean, it's weird. So AI is doing things, but I think also it's still very much in its infancy, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with it in the next 2 or 3 or 4 years, and see if it takes another dark turn later, or if it doesn't at all and just makes more cat memes. I don't know, and I'm okay with that. All right, let's see. I don't want to talk about the iPhone. We talk about the iPhone all the time. Whoa. It's just and people have been listening and waiting for me to get my iPhone 16. I'm not going to get an iPhone 16. I'm not going to do it. I actually was thinking about getting, if I could, I was going to get a brand new iPhone 14, because that's what the iPhone 16 is. There's some extra things in the iPhone 16, some extra programming and some extra colors and stuff, and some extra features with like the flashlight. I mean, they're really, really trying to make a new phone, and it's not. There was a photo outside of a Verizon store the morning of the iPhone launch. There wasn't a soul out front. Granted, in New York, out front of the Apple store, there was a lot of people still lined up and everything. But they were also stating that you can, like, employees now can get the iPhone on discount almost on launch day, and that never happens. So they're clearly having a problem selling them. But it's also because the only people that really need that iPhone 16 are people who are on an iPhone 11 or before. And I've see a lot of people, oh, gee, should I get the new phone? I'm like, no. They're like, okay, well, I just want to replace this. And they show me like an iPhone SE or an iPhone 6 or an iPhone 7 or something. And I'm going, oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, do it. The iPhone 16 is going to be great for you. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great update. It's not a bad phone. It's just something I don't need. I have a 12 Pro Max, and again, we kind of talked about those bubbles, right? There's like the design bubbles that kind of stick together, and we don't know how those design bubbles go until later on, and we can look back at them because we don't know how the designs are going to take. And when you buy a phone, you're like, I'm not really sure if I should buy this phone because it's going to go into this next thing, or if it's going to be something better later on, which is why I was waiting for it, because I wanted, I want the camera, I want the connectivity, I want things that are going to make my current phone better. And that's why I would get out of my current phone. My current phone still works. The battery's not that great, but it's also 4 years old. So if you're back in like the iPhone like 7, 8, 9 days, that was kind of an era with the SE, and then you go into the iPhone X and the iPhone 11, that was kind of its own bubble, and then it jumped into the 12, and 12, 13, and 14 have all kind of, or actually, I'm sorry, there's the 12 and then there's the 13, and then that kind of was together, and then the 12, then it kind of bled over to the 14, but the 12, the 13, and the 14, each one had a better camera as you went. 12 had one camera, 12 or 15 megapixel, then it went to the 13, then it went to the 14. The 14 has like a 48 megapixel camera. But then now we have the new group, the 14, 15, 16 group, where they're the same. The processor's a little bit better. Yeah, it's a little better, a little better. The screen is still 60 hertz, not 120 hertz. The screen is still not as awesome as the Samsungs were 4.5 years ago. I don't understand that. We're finally getting USB-C. That's because the European Union forced us into it. So they're not giving it to us because they're like, oh, here's a new feature. They're giving it to us because they were forced. And they're only putting USB 3 on the Pro phones. They're not putting USB 3 on the other phones. So if you want to get your gigantic data out that you're filming at 120 hertz, if you can film that on the other phones, even at 60 hertz, a gigantic film, you're transferring it out of a USB port on your phone at USB 2.0. And then you either have to have it in the cloud, you have to upload it to something, or you have to get it out through the cable. Those are the only ways. Or you're sending it to somebody via text message, and you're going to not send a super high definition video over text message unless you are. So it's not great. I've got a whole feature list here of what the iPhone is. I said I was going to talk about the iPhone, but it's sad because it's nothing to write home to, and it's a $1,200 device. Again, if you're on an iPhone 7, an 8, a 9, a 10, 11, sure, upgrade. I'm on a 12 Pro Max, and my phone's not broken. If my phone was broken, then I'd be like, okay, I'm going to jump up to the 16. But the 12 is nothing any better than the 16 is going to be. It's basically virtually the same, a little bit slower because the processor is a little bit slower. So, all right. Was that kind of how we went? Yeah, this thing and that thing. Okay. We're just about at the halfway point here at the Computer Man Show on KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQT Prunedale, 89.5, 89.7, and 90.7 FM, and always online at ksqd.org. See if there's anything ridiculous to talk about in the last 2 minutes before we go to break. Let's see here. Oh, someone asked me how I could, like, someone called me about their computer, and they were like, "Oh, man, my computer's kind of old, it's a little slower, how do I know what's gonna? If I were to check it into you, how do I know what's wrong with it?" I'm like, okay, well, one of the ways we check, especially if everything else is working properly, but like it's a little slow, first thing we check is the hard drive. We check out the health of the hard drive, and we're like, well, how do you do that? And we call there's a smart status reader, which stands, it's the technical drive information that basically keeps its critical parameters in check and will follow those rules, and if it doesn't, it degrades its score. And then it reads those values based on what they should be, reads the current values, and then puts a score against that. So when like the hard drive spins up, if it's a spinning hard drive, it'll spin up and it takes a certain amount of voltage, and it should reach full speed in a certain amount of time. Well, if the bearings are slow, or if the bearing's a little tired, or if the motor's a little tired and it takes twice as long to speed up, that's going to be noticed, and that's going to take away from its score. What about if the seek time, if it goes out and grabs 1 megabyte of data, and before 1 megabyte of data would take 3 seconds to pull off? Well, now 1 megabyte of data is taking 7 seconds to pull off. So that's going to degrade the score as well, because magnetism went down in the drive, or the heads are bad, or the platters are getting demagnetized, or whatever's going on. So the smart status will then keep track of that. Both mechanical drives and solid-state drives use it. And both SATA and SCSI SAS drives also do it. They keep track of it in a little different ways, but it's the same basic stuff. So that's one of our first things. When I tell people over the phone, I can't really, I could help you over the phone, but I can't really tell you exactly what's going on unless I see the machine. And like, well, why can't you just do remote monitoring? Why can't you just send my thing, over this way? I'm like, well, if we were doing remote monitoring, I would put a piece of software on your machine that would monitor exactly this. And then it would tell me if things are going bad. But in order for me to really look at it, I've got to have it not running the software I need to look at. And again, it's like working on the motor when the motor's off rather than working on the motor when it's on. You want to turn it off so everything's in a stationary state, so you can then look at things and maybe make changes. So when it does start back up, those changes are then implemented and the machine can function with those new changes in place. Otherwise, if it's running while it's doing that, I can't make a lot of changes because the thing's running. I have to have it stopped in order to make the change so it can start back up with those new changes. So Smart Status will give you a basic idea, and the software that we install with our remote monitoring will actually allow that. But then we want it into the shop so we can get an actual definitive shot when we take the drive out and look at it on our bench. That's called the Smart Status, and it stands for the Self-Monitoring Analysis and Reporting Technology. Woohoo! Yay, acronyms. Okay. Again, this is the Computer Man Show here on KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQT Prunedale, 89.5, 89.7, and 90.7 FM, and online at ksqd.org, as well as our app in the App Store and Google Play. Stick around. We're going to take a quick break with some amazing underwriters and some important stuff, and we'll be right back.
An epic-sized predator's rising from the depths, the Kraken of legend. As it devours its competition, it may be headed for our very own shores.
KSQD Santa Cruz, 90.7 FM. Online at ksqd.org.
It's a chilling taste of the true Kraken's power.
K-Squid. Now let's get cracking.
First dive with squid, I got my ass kicked.
Hey Squiddies, K-Squid has a new mobile app for iOS and Android. Never go anywhere without your squid. You could win a fabulous K-Squid t-shirt, and here's how. Step 1, download the app to your phone in the App Store or via ksqd.org. Step 2, use the app's Vox Pop function to send us an audio testimonial about why you love K-Squid and community radio. Step 3, first 10 people to send us a testimonial for our pledge drive get a free K-Squid t-shirt. You're a winner regardless because you're listening to K-Squid. Thank you.
My name is Luigi Oppido, owner-operator of Pleasure Point Computers and the host of the Computer Man Show, a 1-hour call-in show Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Viruses, slowdowns, scams, and updates. Computers can be a pain, and I'll help you through it.
Send me an email with your request. If it's hardware you want, baby, I'm the best. I'm the computer.
If it has an on switch, we'll probably talk about it on the Computer Man Show Tuesdays at 6 p.m. only on KSQD 90.7 FM Santa Cruz.
Get into a computer.
Hi, I'm Bobby Bishop, host of Be in the Night, bringing you the best I can with jazz, love songs, and soul. Join me on Tuesday evenings from 7 to 10 p.m., playing the classics straight ahead and introducing you to the latest artists and composers. That's Tuesday nights from 7 to 10 p.m. right here on listener-supported KSQD 90.7 FM, Santa Cruz.
Yes, jazz. Love jazz. I play jazz, actually, if you didn't know that. I was a jazz musician. Play a little trumpet and trombone. But stick around to Be in the Night. Coming up at 7 o'clock, amazing jazz to let the computer nonsense, what? That's right, ooze out of your ears. That's right, you're a listener. All right, well, welcome back to the Computer Man Show here on KSQD Santa Cruz, K-Squid 90.7 FM, and online within ksqd.org. All right, let's get into some more emails. I have a short, 14-page packet full of emails. Let's see what we can do. All right, let's get to where we left off last week. Why do I have two GPUs? GPU is a graphic processing unit. Anyway, so it says, I'm new to all this PC stuff as a 7-year console user. Console is like a PlayStation or Xbox, etc. So when wanting to get a PC, my friend gave me a good parts to use. He told me to go buy an AMD Radeon RX 7900 GRE, and I just listened, but bought it. But when I checked the AMD Software Adrenaline Edition performance, said I had two GPUs, and when trying to do the application, it also said, okay, they're got there. It's asked me which GPU do I want to use and which is the one on there. Yes, we're going to get to you in just a moment. All right, let's get you on there and we'll take it. All right, so it said I had GPUs. When trying to use the application, which GPU do I want to use? Do I want to use the Radeon or do I want to use the AMD Radeon graphics? What's the difference between these two? Radeon graphics is basically like a GPU that's integrated into the CPU, and then you have another one that's standalone. The one that's integrated into the CPU can give you graphics. The one that's actually put into the machine is amazing and awesome and both and huge and big and will actually power some things and give you higher resolution things. That's the one you want to use if you're using gaming. But we can talk about it in just a moment because we have a caller on the line out in the real world. Hello, you're on with the Computer Man. How can I help you?
Luigi, you may be able to help me as you have in the past.
Okay, I hope so. Let's see what we can do.
About a month ago, I called and I told you I'd get back to you about a problem I was having with Elder Scrolls Online.
Yes.
As a quick recap, the situation was that in order to play Elder Scrolls Online effectively, you really need add-ons. And there is an add-on program that you can download all the great add-ons, and then it will store them in the appropriate file, either locally or on OneDrive, and then the game can access it. My problem was that after a recent patch a month ago, about half of my add-ons no longer worked, which makes the game very difficult to play. So that was my path. It was to discover this problem. You thought the biggest problem was the fact that OneDrive was involved.
Oh, yes.
So I unlinked myself from OneDrive.
Okay.
I uninstalled the game using Revo Installer. I got rid of as many registry records as I could by running it, scanning it under the moderate scan, and did a fresh install and put it locally with no access to OneDrive.
Okay.
Same problem happened. The game sees some of the add-ons, but not all of them. So I thought, okay, well, that's not good. I played around with that and went to a lot of websites, watched a lot of videos, read a lot of articles, did a lot of things to see if I could repair that. Sorry if I'm getting boring.
No, that's good. No, yes.
Okay. That didn't work, so I thought, okay, I'll uninstall it again and see if I can run it through OneDrive, which seems to be some kind of default option that Elder Scrolls Online, or maybe Steam, I guess, wants to do. Still the same problem. But one thing I did notice in all my reading, it said, when you're playing the game, if you want to locate where your add-ons are, just click, take a screenshot, and in the upper right-hand corner, it will tell you where those things are being stored.
Okay.
And when I did not have the game linked to OneDrive, it said, oh my gosh, your things are being stored on OneDrive.
Aha. So they're still pointed there.
I'm guessing that's probably going to be something that's useful in the diagnosis. When I went back to playing it with OneDrive, I changed Minion. Instead of looking for the appropriate files locally, I changed the setting, based on some reading, to look for it on OneDrive. Still, doesn't matter what I do, the same thing happens over and over again for the last month. Half of the add-ons are not accessible, half of them are.
Okay. So,
you have enough information. I realize that without seeing the computer, it's going to be really difficult to do this, but I thought you might have some kind of general advice.
Yes, actually, after you talk with me, that you put so in my head is a tiny hamster wheel, and every once in a while, if the people give me a problem that I can't figure out, it gets loaded into the hamster wheel. And I have no control over said hamster wheel, whether it just goes or whether I can think about it or whether I not. And it just will go and go and go and go. And then I'll think of something and apply it to the hamster wheel and see if the hamster wheel stops. And if it doesn't, then I've got to keep thinking about it. And that's with Elder Scrolls that kind of came around. And I went home actually that night, or it was either that night or the next morning. And I was thinking about, what that could possibly be. And I started reading about all the different people that had the same issues, that were having that issue exactly like that. I then went and found a Reddit post while we were talking. I found my link that I had actually saved for you. And I want to email you a link to a Reddit post that had somebody that's having the same issue, and they had a full list of things to check as you go through. I
have found that post, and I think it's about 14 different things.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy. Yeah, it's
I did them all.
Okay, and it's still not doing it.
Right.
Okay, so if it's still pointing to OneDrive, can we change how the pointer points? Do you know can we do that?
There's no way that I can change what Steam and Elder Scrolls Online is doing. It doesn't give me an option to say, stop going to OneDrive. I don't even have that thing linked. There's no option for me to do that.
Okay. Because what I'm reading is that OneDrive does it takes over that and everything I remember from what I was going to. There's a way to you have to did you try I know we uninstalled and did Revo and everything, that's great. Did we unsync the folder where the add-ons were stored? Did you ever do that? Like there's something called like the ESO. I remember I had some notes actually from you from when we talked that I had written down to if you were to call me again, and I found the notes. And there was a yes for Elder Scrolls Online. Is there a way that we have to get it out of OneDrive. OneDrive is the problem. OneDrive has these extra things inside their folders that don't allow pass-through on a lot of things. I'm finding it for multiple programs that OneDrive, when you have a Windows 10 machine, on every Windows 10 machine, if you go into the OneDrive folder, that folder has all this extra bloated garbage programming that goes along with the OneDrive program and doesn't allow some passback back and forth, even though it is a folder inside the structure of Windows Explorer. It's like a paradox inside this normal sea of flatness. It's this hole that goes through, but you can't get into the hole. And then if you get into the hole, you can't get out of the hole. And OneDrive is just getting worse and worse and worse. So what we need to do is there's a syncing thing that is telling it to look that way. And we've got to find if it's in the program, if it's on like an online setting that we need to change. But it would be really interesting to maybe even get a house call scheduled and give me like a week out, and then I want to put together some things that I can look for and see if I can find where that is. And I know if you've gone through a lot of stuff, especially with this one post that I had, which I was pretty proud of that I found, but I'm glad you found it too. If we could do that, I could sit in front of it and go through the things that I think would be, and see if I could find out, see if I could see something that maybe you missed. And I would really enjoy doing that, because why? There's a way that's pointing to OneDrive. We should tell it to point someplace else. How do we do that? We should be able to figure that out.
I thought that unlinking my whole system from OneDrive should work.
But it's like unlinking it from Edge. Edge is embedded in the operating system, like in the operating system. It is like in so many different places it's impossible to delete. So it could be something where just that OneDrive thing is holding on, but everything I read, I remember it was just red flags everywhere for OneDrive. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, it's going to OneDrive, and that does not allow these things to load. It's actually like running the programs at a different level than it is on the operating system level, and it needs that constant throughput back and forth, and for some reason OneDrive does not allow that passback, does not allow that communication, doesn't allow those files to work the way they're supposed to if they're linked there, or even if after we turn off OneDrive, it still gets stuck. So we've just got to get out of that pain that is OneDrive. But I would, if you're interested, I would be interested in coming out. We could do, when we would discuss it'd be a small service, because it's more, I'm kind of curious about this now at this point, and I'd like to actually come out to where the machine is and see if we can get it going.
Interesting. That may be the only solution, because after reading that Reddit article and many, many others, I've done so many things and still fail.
Yeah, there's, but where we saw that you saw in the program where it's pointing to the files in OneDrive, right? You saw like that linking of OneDrive where it said it was listed there.
Yeah, it's clearly showing up when you hit the print screen, or when you hit take a screenshot.
Yeah.
Then it shows up in the upper right-hand corner. Oh, this is going to OneDrive. Yeah.
Okay, so that means to me that the computer still thinks you have OneDrive even though you've unlinked it.
Oh, that's mean.
I know, it is. It sucks. It totally sucks. It's the worst. I'm also curious if you are using a Microsoft account on your machine.
Yes.
That could be your problem.
Oh, you mean like I should... Uh-oh.
Okay, so what I'm thinking is, Microsoft account is not that big of a deal, and you can switch it back if you need to. But if you were to transfer it to a local account, that might be the last thing it's linking into your OneDrive. We need to get rid of Microsoft account stuff, most likely, if OneDrive is still holding on, because Microsoft account and OneDrive really talk hand in hand. But we also might be able to disengage a lot of that stuff by still keep your Microsoft account. Do you have any reason why you want to keep your Microsoft account on this machine?
Only because I thought it was more efficient to let Microsoft do whatever it's supposed to be doing, because it knows better than I do.
That's very kind. I don't think they do. I think that also the Microsoft account it's one of those things, if you get a brand new machine, you can sign into the Microsoft account and a lot of your icons and things will show up, but if you're not using OneDrive, it won't, etc. So it would be interesting to go into your settings and just convert your system to a local account, and then see. Well, again, okay, this would be again something that I would try while we were there. We would convert it to a local account, which is a one single button click under the settings in your account settings, and it would just switch to a local account. It would no longer be linked to Microsoft, and then again unlink OneDrive. Try doing the screenshot thing. See if it's still going back to OneDrive, and if it is, see what else is still linked to it, and unlink those things, and then see if we can go back and see where it's actually showing up Your computer's still using OneDrive. If you're saving, if the screenshot is still doing stuff and it's going to a OneDrive folder, something is still linked, and we need to get rid of that. And it could be your Microsoft account. It also could be just something simple that thing's still pointing to it, and we just need to say no. And so but again, looking at it, sitting in front of it,
it might be possible for me to watch a few videos to see how to unlink myself from the Microsoft account.
Okay.
The only problem is that the unknown unknowns.
Yeah.
How is that going to affect all of the other things that my computer is doing that require that I have a Microsoft account?
So the Microsoft account, the main thing that I think of when I think of the Microsoft account is your Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Office suite, which it itself is signed in by itself. So if do you have your Microsoft account username and password?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're good to turn it back on if we sign out by accident and go back onto it. By clicking turning to a local account really doesn't change much on the machine overall. You wouldn't even notice if I were to sit down on your machine and do it. There'd be the login screen looks slightly different. It would have maybe a password there instead of like a PIN, and that's about it. Like I have to, if I were to look at a machine externally or anything, I would never be able to tell that it has a Microsoft account or a local account besides going into the machine, actually looking at system processes and going, oh, that is a Microsoft account because there's the email address. It's really not much of anything. It just Microsoft will kind of monitor more things. You could download stuff from the Microsoft Store and that kind of stuff. So I don't think it's really going to mess anything up, especially if you're not using OneDrive, which is the other thing that you would turn off, but then you can run OneDrive independently without having a Microsoft account logged into the machine. So I think before we do that, it would be still interesting to see, if you click on your Windows Explorer and you go into OneDrive and you click on the OneDrive folder, do your files still show up there? If you right click on your desktop and make a new folder and name it, test, and then go into your Windows Explorer, go into the C drive, go into your users, go into your username, go onto the desktop, is it there? Or is it under, if you go back a step and go into OneDrive and then go into the desktop, is that new test folder there? And that's a way I see a really simple way of knowing where my stuff is. If I'm saving something on the desktop, is it actually on the desktop or is it under OneDrive/desktop? And if it's under OneDrive/desktop, we still have some work to do. If it's not, then we can look at other places because that's finally let go. So another base start place. But again, that's the kind of stuff I would do when I'd sit down in front of it, really make sure the machine is doing what it's supposed to do and not in this other way, and then attack that program and make sure it's pointing in the right direction.
Okay.
Just that easy, right?
That I do have a mirror image of what is locally, all of the add-ons. They're exactly the same. It
Okay.
took time and trouble and effort to do this. They're exactly the same as what's on OneDrive. But it sounds like you've got a two-pronged strategy. One is to see if I can get out of the Microsoft account and run it locally, which I think I may be able to do without destroying the machine.
Yes.
And then the second thing is a little bit more sophisticated, which I do notice when I hit OneDrive, it gives you a chance on your computer to look at those files, but it doesn't give you a chance to look at everything.
Yeah, and so if that is still happening, OneDrive is still running.
Yeah. That's because I linked it back up again.
Okay, because if I click on OneDrive and if it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing, if OneDrive's not running, I click on it, it goes, hey, log into OneDrive. And it goes, hey, you want to log in? And if I click on the OneDrive folder on Windows Explorer, it goes, hey, you want to log into OneDrive? Hey, check it out. OneDrive is this really cool thing. Have you ever heard of it? And it kind of starts you. And if it's not doing that, it's still probably logged in some way. And they don't want you to log out from it. It's not a simple thing. It's not straightforward. It's like Spotify. You're stuck, man.
I don't like these things.
I know. But with games, they're always a little bit unique. But there is a simple path that something needs to be pointed to, and then everything will come back. And I highly doubt that the game has removed that path. So I think that we can still make that path work. And it'll also be interesting to just take a new laptop, just a laptop that just has blank Windows 10, and load this stuff onto it. Load Elder Scrolls, load your add-on packs, and run Steam, and see if it works. like on a normal computer. Just make sure that it still works today on just a general, blank computer that has just basic Windows 10 and nothing else. And make sure that all the add-ons and everything are still functional in today's world as, things roll by and everything. I'm sure they would. I'm sure they should be. But it would also be like, okay, there it is. Everything's running. Everything's working on another machine. I know this stuff works. I know my files work. Okay, let's hit this machine and see why this one's not.
Well, that's a good idea because I do have a gaming computer. I could do that.
I would be very fascinated to know if that would work. I know that's a lot of work. I know it's a bunch of steps, but if that stuff worked with your exact same packs in exactly the same locations and everything still functions on the same operating system, then we know that this machine is just pointing the wrong way. But also, if we load up on the other machine and the things don't work with a blank operating system and it's still giving you problems, then we don't have to make ourselves blue in the face trying to fight this. We know something else changed and we have to make some changes and make some alterations.
Oh my God. Okay. Sounds like a plan. I've got now a 3-pronged plan.
I know, yeah. I'm in your corner. I'm happy to help. I'm really curious if to get it. And this is very, this is getting back to your game, and I want to get you back to your game. It's important.
Me too, because I have lots of monsters to kill and lots of it's really important.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I look forward to contacting you after I do a little bit more work, and then we'll see if I can't revive this. I like the two ideas. The one about creating another test, that one did not sink into my cerebrum.
That was more just to see where things are. So like right now, what I do is if I just right click on the desktop and I go to new and I create a new folder, and then I just call the folder test or make it something that's kind of weird so I can find it later. And then after that, I just want to go to Windows Explorer, go to the C drive, go to my users, and and then I click on your username, and it's going to give you options, right? Desktop, documents, downloads, pictures, videos, OneDrive, etc. And I want to go to the desktop first and see if my test video folder is on the desktop there. If it's not there, I know that OneDrive is still holding on because I probably go into the OneDrive folder and go to desktop and then see that folder that I just made in that location too.
Interesting.
And that would tell me if OneDrive is running and still holding on to things and still routing things to my OneDrive folder, or if it's let go and actually isn't syncing as it isn't doing the thing it's supposed to do and actually is putting my files back into the desktop location originally where they should be, where they were in the first place.
Wow. Okay.
That's what it was. So you can try it. That's another thing just to see what's going on. Just another lay of the land, I guess, to figure out what's going on.
Okay, well, 20 minutes ago, I didn't have a single idea about what to do, and now I have a better idea.
Woohoo!
So
That's what we're here for.
Wonderful.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Luigi at pleasurepointcomputers.com if you don't get me by the other email address, or call me at the shop, and we'll move forward in any way we can.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Luigi.
You're welcome. Have a great rest of your night. Thank you for the call. Appreciate you always listening.
Okay, bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. And the phone lines are open for another few minutes here. You're at 831-900-5773. That was a great question. That was a big one, right? That one, it's a very intricate program, a very specific program that's loading very specific things, that has another specific program that's stopping those specific things from loading. And again, computers are so dumb that they need to be told exactly what they need to do. And that's why when I talk about all these things, we take this stuff for granted. All this stuff is taken for granted. For the internet, the devices in our pockets. When things go a little slow and we get all, why is this thing slow? Blah, blah. Holy moly, the amount of data and the amount of things you can do on your phone, the amount of things that are going through the air right now, and the amount of infrastructure and the amount of precision and programming that all needs to be exactly correct for all this stuff to work is incredible. And one little thing would make it stop. And we feel it all the time. That's why we have this show, right? Because one little thing in the wrong spot, or something getting updated, or something getting changed, can throw a literal monkey wrench into the gears and cause everything to eat itself, and gears are flying out like Charlie Chaplin style and stuff. So just, it can be anything. It can be and with that, OneDrive, as I was seeing through the internet, is it just causes issues. And OneDrive is, for those of you out there who weren't following along or wanted to follow along, OneDrive is Microsoft's way of going to the cloud. It's Microsoft's Google Drive. It's Microsoft's Dropbox. It's a way to have your files on your computer, have an online program look at those files, and automatically put them into another place online. So if your computer all of a sudden gets drowned, gets lost in a forest fire, under the ocean, whatever it is, that those files are located safely in a storage place somewhere else in the country that you can access with your email address and password. So And on paper, that sounds great. But it's the Microsoft way to force feed this stuff down your throat, just like Apple does with their iCloud and all their stuff. So OneDrive is clearly a subscription-based moneymaker if you have enough space and you're paying for it. And so they want you to use it. And then they do things where they will, if you sign up for it, all of a sudden scoops up your desktop, your documents, and your downloads. And they take the downloads because there's big files in downloads and it'll eat up a lot of space. And they scoop that up and put it into the OneDrive folder and move everything over there. But if you don't disengage it properly, it doesn't move back. So you've got to do that. And if you don't know how to do that, you're going into system files, you're going into other places, and it's wrong. It's another thing that they just trap people into their machines. They know they've got you. They know they've got you on your operating system. They know you've got all of your data in there. And now we're going to move your data, put it into a place, and then, oh, you don't want to use that service? Well, just turn it off. Just get rid of it then. Oh, you can't? Why not? Oh, you're stuck in it? I guess you'll just have to keep using it. And that sucks. That sucks. That's almost criminal. I don't like that. And then also to have the folder, the special OneDrive folder, have all these special protocols and things behind it that make the OneDrive folder special and function a special way. Like if you pull an external hard drive out and look at those files on a OneDrive folder, you can't pull them out. They're like encrypted, locked based on some type of OneDrive encryption holding on thing that's inside that software, that's inside that folder, that's not anywhere else. So, blurg. Do I like it? Not really. Does it work? It works. And we have a lot of customers who have machines that go in the drink and they need to get their files back, and there they are. So if you don't have an online solution, yes, it's a good online solution, but it could be better. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, well, if I missed your call tonight, you can always reach me by email. Reach another end of another Computer Man show. I appreciate you all. I can always reach me by email, Luigi, Luigi, at ksqd.org. Remember, always tune in to the Computer Man show here from 6 to 7 p.m., if I remember where we are, here at 90.7 FM at K-Squid, KSQD. That's us. I'd like to thank all my listeners and my callers. Thank you, KSQD, Sandy Stone, Harold Fedstein, Richard Gibbett, Deborah Kibbett, John Sanders, all of Santa Cruz, Tesla, the Waz, Mr. Gangster, and of course, the humble electron. Thank you again, Santa Cruz. I'm your Computer Man here on KSQD Santa Cruz, K-Squid, 90.7 FM, and online at ksqd.org. Stay tuned right here for Be in the Night. I hope you all have a positively charged evening. Until next time.
I am the computer man. I can do anything you can. I am the computer man. I can do anything you can. Computer man, he is your friend. He gonna help you again and again. So if you have a question or two, he's got the answer just for you. I am the computer man, and I am ready for questions now. Thank you.
Mr. Computer Man, how much is 2 plus 2?
4.
Mr. Computer Man, how do you spell cat?
C-A-T.
Mr. Computer Man, how do you spell supercalifragilisticexpialidocious?
With letters. I am the computer man. I can do anything you can. I am the computer man. I can do anything you can. Computer man is very wise. He speaks the truth, he never lies. So if there's something you don't understand, just ask the computer man.
Hi, Mr. Computer Man. My name is Jenny. I have a question for you.
Wait, Jenny does not compute. What is your number, please?
Number? I don't have a number. I'm a person.
A person? A person?